the C++ Basics unit, and in this lesson our goal is to learn the cout and cin statements. First of all, the cout, it stands for console output, okay? And this is basically equivalent to printing stuff to the screen. Now what's important is that cout is not a C++ keyword, it's rather a keyword from a library called IOStream library. So because C++ does not recognize what cout is, we'll have to include the appropriate library, and on top of that, we have to also define the main function in order to begin coding. We'll talk about functions libraries in detail later on. Alright, so once you've opened up your project that you've created in the previous lesson, let's take a look at what we have to do in order to include the appropriate library and define the main function. Because as you can see, if we were to type in cout, there'll be red squiggly lines that appear, meaning that the C++ does not recognize what cout is. So the library we must include, as I stated earlier, is called the IOStream library. So the syntax is every sharp sign include IOStream. Okay, I just want you to type that in. And below that, I want you to type in using name space std. Okay. It's a standard namespace. Alright. And now, once we've included our library, we want to define the main function. So first, we will define the type of the function, int, call it main with our parentheses. And then we have to include our curly braces for the scope. And we have to also return some value. I'm going to return 0. Okay. So again, libraries and functions will be discussed in a later lesson. Alright? I just want you to just copy this for now. And just understand that we have to include a library in order for C++ to recognize what cout is. And we have to also define a main function in order to see our code in the console window. Alright, so as you can see when I type in cout, the red squiggly marks don't appear at the bottom. Okay, cout syntax. So basically, cout, as you know, prints stuff to the screen. Now the syntax is you need to include this symbol after it. These double arrows after the cout, and this is known as the insertion operator. Okay, and then after you include a string or variable, you have to include a semicolon at the end of a line, and that marks the end of the program statement. Okay, so let's just take a look at an example to help us understand this concept. So if we were to insert a string, let's say the classic hello world, we have to use that insertion operator. So this symbol right there, you see that? It's called your insertion operator. And then at the end of the statement, so our statement is we want to output this to the console, we have to, it's like a sentence, it's like a period at the end of a sentence, we have to have a semicolon. Alright, check it out. So click this button, and well, what just happened? I saw a window, but very briefly, and then it went away. Let's try it again. Oh, let's keep on happening. What went wrong? Well, after this line, we have to include this program statement, cin.get. What this will do is this will freeze the program until we hit like enter or something on our keyboard, and then it will close the program. So when we run this will give us the ability to actually see the program. As you can see, our first output here, hello world, and now it freezes at the cin.get, and when we hit enter, for example, or anything on your keyboard, it will just So if we hit enter, it will close the window. What can we see out? In other words, print up to the screen. What can we print to the screen? Well, we can print strings, as you saw in the previous example of hello world, numbers, mathematical expressions, and variables, which we'll touch up in a later lesson. We can now put mathematical expressions. For example, what's 3 plus 2? Well, I was going to do the calculations, and it's 5, right? So here are the arithmetic operators that C++ will understand. So you've got your positive, negative, multiplication, division, the mod symbol, modulus, addition, and subtraction. You should be all familiar with that. If you want more operations, then you have to include another library called the CMath library, and this will give you access to functions such as power, square root, your trig ratios, and other functions. Let's take a look at an example to help us understand the power of the cout statement. Okay, so our goal is to output this to the screen. So your final average is, and we want to insert a tab, okay, which I'll show you how. And we want the computer, not us, we want the computer to do this calculation right here. And then we want to insert a new line in print out percent with our cout and our insertion operator, and we want to start out with the string your final average is. So your final average is, okay, just a string, and then we want to insert a tab. So we're going to use another insertion operator, and for the tab we can use this escape sequence. So this is when you use a slash and a T. This is a shortcut to inserting a tab. Okay, so this won't read the actual string. It's a shortcut to inserting a tab. And then right here we will insert the mathematical expression. So remember it was 7 squared, but wait, how do we do squared? Well, we have to include that C math library. So up here we're just gonna do include C math. Okay, include C math, and now we can just use this power. Okay, if you don't remember, just refer to that table I showed you. So power, and the base is 7, the exponent 2. Alright, so that's equivalent to 7 squared, and then we just plus 8. Number of multiplication is the star times 2, plus, now we want the square root of a number. So again, we're going to use this from the CMath library. We're going to say the square root of 144. Okay, and remember, C++ follows BEDMAS, or order of precedence. So whatever is inside these parentheses will be evaluated first. And we're going to add this. We're going to add 10 mod 6 plus 19, end line right there, and percent. Okay. So this is the final code. We'll run this, and your final average is 100%. You can see that tab over and percent is on a new line. So we've completed the example. And just to let you know, we can... C++ is not that strict with white space, so we can literally have this on a new line. We can have this on a new line. Okay, and this will still work. As you can see, your final average is 100%. It will still work. And then we can have this. We can use another cout here. on another line. Okay, and that'll still be valid. Okay, it'll still output the same exact thing out here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we want to add some comments to explain our code. Okay, and it's very basic single line comments. You use these to slashes, and multi-line comments you have a slash and the asterisk. So here I can see, for example, print string, okay, and break this up a little bit. I can maybe say, this is some calculations. Okay, and this can span within multiple lines. You can have code that exists within lines. So some calculations. Run this code. Again, ignore these comments, and this is our result. Okay, lastly, let's just go over the cin statement. So the cin statement, which stands for console input, is basically getting user input. Okay, and the syntax is very simple. You just use cin, but now you see these symbols, these arrows. Now it changes direction. This is called the extraction operator. Okay, remember how the cout uses the insertion operator? Now we're extracting information from the user, and we have to add a variable here. And variables will be discussed in the next lesson. I will just create a variable here of integer type, let's say called a, because when you use the cin, you have to specify your variable. So a. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. My friend Kalen just came over, and he was just telling me about this airsoft battle that we're gonna have in about 20 minutes. Okay, so the user will input an integer, and that will be stored in this variable. Okay, there's gonna be nothing there, but we're inputting some value. Output, remember cout, extraction operator output. Let's see, output how many courses do you have this semester? Alright, how many courses do you have this semester? And the program statement will include a semicolon. The user will input a value to a. And we can call this, let's just call this courses. Let's just output you have courses this semester. Alright, so when we run this program, it now says how many courses do you have this semester. Right, this is the cout statement. And then we enter an integer. Remember, this variable is an integer type, the courses. Let's say I have 6 courses this semester. I'd enter, and what just happened? Again, we're having that same issue where the window goes away. Instead of using the cin.get, we have to use something else, because it won't work when we use the cin statement right here. So we will use system. Hopefully, I remember it. The syntax. System pause. System pause. Okay. Let's run this again. So again, it's going to ask, how many courses do you have this semester? 8. So this number, when I hit enter, this number is stored in this variable. Okay. So the program stops at this cin statement. It's waiting for me to enter a value. When I enter this value, it will be stored in the courses variable. When I hit enter, it's going to say you have 8 courses this semester. Wow, that's fantastic. And it's going to say press any key to continue. This is just because we're using system.pause, so it will output this to the screen. So let's just output an end line here, and let's run this program again. Because you have a semester. Let's say I enter not an integer type, but let's say I enter a decimal or float type. Let's say I have 3.14 courses this semester. So what do you think will happen? This is a float, and now it's being converted into an integer type. So the decimals will literally be cut off. So say you have 3 courses this semester. Okay? So let's trace our code to conclude. In this lesson we were covering quite a lot of stuff. We were covering the libraries, a bit of functions, data types, and those things we'll be covering later lessons. But you just have to have a sneak peek of these concepts because you'll have to use them whenever using these program statements. Alright, so you've made it. You've completed this lesson. Now before moving on to the next lesson, just make sure you completely understand, all the syntax, and to kind of help you assist with this, I will create some practice questions for you. So you don't have to create your own practice questions. I'll create the practice questions so you get a chance to do your own coding, okay? Instead of just watching me do everything, I want you to actually do some coding yourself. Alright, anyways, so I'll see you in the next lesson then.